I need help right now, and it's got to be something more than like I'm capable of doing. I don't have the knowledge to help myself. That was a really low spot to hit, to realize that like, oh, I dug this hole and I don't know the way out of this hole that I dug, but I'm responsible for the hole. You know, like I take accountability for it, but I don't even know how to get back out of it.
You are now tuning in to the Relentless Project. Real people, real stories, real life.
Well, bro, I appreciate you for coming on the Relentless Project.
Of course, man.
This is the one with Jesse Beckwith. You got a lot of background that I seem to resonate with, so I think this is like a perfect episode. And one thing I like to start with, because I mean, obviously you're rooted here in the area with what you do, but you know, people watching may not know who you are or why you're on here. So I like to get a little background on people.
Yep.
And the first question, I don't know if you've watched that, but the first question always, who is Jesse Beckwith? When someone asks that, like, what do you do? Who is Jesse Beckwith? How do you respond to that?
Man, that's a question I think just for myself it's hard to respond to, you know?
Oh, like, yeah, talking about
it's hard to define that in myself. There's so many things that I do that I couldn't pinpoint, like, oh, this is who that guy is, or this is the single thing he does, or this is what makes him him. It's just like, oh, I kind of like being like just the basket case of everything, that somebody's like, oh, I need this. It's like, oh, that's the guy.
Oh, go to Jesse.
Yeah, call Jesse. Like, oh, I need a therapist. Oh, let me give him a call. Or, oh, I need somebody to get some sparring in with, or some gym advice, or some nutrition. Oh, let me call this guy. Or like, I need help with some kind of like penal code or advice on law or something like that. Oh, let me give this guy a call. You know, it's
penal codes too. It's
just kind of like just a smorgasbord of so many things combined. I think I have a lot of interest in so many different things, and I've always had intentional interest in those things.
And I feel like it all comes together for like a purpose. So like, what's your goal? Because you have military background, law enforcement background, MMA background. You just graduated. I don't know if I could talk about that, but you just graduated.
Last night, graduated last night. Thank you so much.
How's that feel?
Honestly, unsatisfying.
Unsatisfying.
And there's a part of me that I'm happy. You know, I set some very high expectations for myself going through with that degree program, but the finish line wasn't as grand and as extravagant and as that euphoric feeling that I was expecting there to be. It was just kind of like oh, man, what's next now?
Finish line.
Yeah. It was
Bro, this
like,
is the starting line.
Yeah, exactly. But it was like, oh, I'm going to finish with this bachelor's. I'm going to get my bachelor's, right? Put my GI Bill to use. It's like, okay, we're going to do that. That's the goal. And then you get there and it's like, oh, goal wasn't accomplished. That was just, like you said, that's just the start. Like, oh, where to now? There was no conclusion to it, which I was expecting almost.
Well, it says a lot about who you are as a person too, right? Like if you set a goal and you get the goal and you're like, done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than you set a goal, you get there and you're like, okay, now what can I do? Like now how can I utilize this?
Yeah, utilize it, or how can I push it past that, or like what's something more unknown to me that I could gain from this? How do I encompass it into my being and use that? So to the original question, was like, what was my purpose, and what I think at this time, because I think our purpose and our meaning kind of changes throughout time.
Okay, yeah.
As human beings, we're meant to evolve and change
and develop,
and our meaning and our purpose for life kind of do that as well. Right now, I think for me is just my biggest purpose is to be a good father, be a good example, and through that I help other people. Is how can I use this earthly knowledge that I've gained through, whether it's like hardship, hard times, or my own interest, how can I use that to help somebody else so they don't have to do the things that I did? And that's how I view it as with my kids and being a single father, is what can I do or say or how can I be a good father so my kids don't have to experience the things that I experienced to gain the knowledge and the wisdom that I have gained? And I think that with people and friends and relationships that I'm in is like, how can I help this person out without them having to go through all the hardship or what I had to do to gain what I have?
I feel like that's the ultimate goal for me as well. And I think you put it in very good words, you know, because oftentimes we as men like to win, conquer, succeed. And it's like, what does that mean, right? Mm-hmm. And I had a guy, David Kelly, not a guy, the guy, David Kelly. And he has this series where he talks about, like, a lot of the issues with men now is there's no defined purpose for their life. Like, they can't define their purpose.
Yeah.
You know, so we often kind of are going rogue trying to figure out. And, like, obviously, a lot of times it's not, you know, with bad intentions, but when you don't have a goal or a purpose, you're kind of just trying to figure it out. And in doing that, you can hurt a lot of people. Yeah. And I see that, especially in young men today.
Yeah, and there's always like the constant pursuit of a purpose, right? And like that gets kind of dangerous. To me, that feels dangerous, right? Is like there was a very long time in my life where I was searching for that, and I was like, oh, what am I doing? What is this all for? You know, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? Like there has to be a purpose and a meaning to it. And I think like the relief from that came whenever, you know, I was in therapy for a long time and still continue therapy, but I came to like a realization with help that it was like sometimes we don't understand the purpose or meaning right now. And we could be okay with not having a purpose or a meaning right now in the moment, but we could understand that it might come later. And what we're doing right now might contribute to that. We're just not at a moment in life where we can have a defined long-term purpose or meaning for the things that we're doing. But I am very big on like this is for that mindset. So like I won't let hardship or hard times go to waste. They'll help me out in some area.
Dude, I was just the other day I was sitting in my car. I like to sit in my car and think. I don't know why that's the place to do it.
We share that.
Yeah, like I don't know why that's the place out of all places. Yeah. But I was sitting in my car and you know I was thinking about where I'm at now. I've had a lot of, you know, opportunities come my way recently that I'm truly blessed for. And, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, is this what everything has come to? Mm-hmm. Because this opportunity is huge. And I'm like, is this what everything has come to? Like all my trials and tribulations and everything. Like when I think about all those times that I was like, man, this sucks. Like, what am I doing? Like, what am I going to do? It's prepared me for, I think, this moment. Yeah. And I don't know if I could talk about that moment on camera yet, but I'm sure I will. But I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, no matter what, I'm so glad to be here. Mm-hmm. I am so glad to be here. Even the hard times, the good times, the bad times, and I've had my fair share of them. I'm sitting here like, at the end of the day, I'm glad to be here. Yeah. I'm so glad to be here. Even if I'm going through something right now, I'm glad to be here. Yeah. And it's that embodying that mindset of, I may not understand what's going on right now, and yeah, it may suck, or it's great, regardless, I'm glad to be here. And if you can take a lesson from everything you're doing and just keep in mind that, hey, you'll be able to apply this sometime in the future. Yeah. So not right now. I don't know what to do with this. I'm going to put it in my pocket because I know one day I'll be able to use this. Help someone else, help myself, help my kids, help, you know. Yeah. Like
but a time will come along that this will be extremely useful. And like sometimes you really understand that. Like right now I just don't see it. But there's going to be a moment where this is extremely, like this is a golden ticket right here, right? Like there's not a famous, but there's a quote from a book, and I might butcher it, but it says the last words in this book are contained within the first words of this book. You just haven't reached the point to understand them yet, it further broke down into life that a lot of things will happen to us that are purposeful and are meaningful, but we haven't reached a point in life where we can create purpose and meaning from them.
Apply the meaning.
To apply the lesson, or we might not even understand that there was a lesson in something that we went through. And then 2 years, 3 years down the road, we're going through something. It's like, oh, man, I remember going through this and I learned something so valuable in that I thought was just pointless. I thought was stupid. And now here I am, and it's the most valuable thing to me was that time that was pointless and useless to me then. But now it's one of the most meaningful things that could have happened to me. It takes like time to evolve and to gain its meaning, to gain its purpose. I mean, I think for me as well, like there are a lot of things that happen in childhood or things that I was kind of numb to, that I wasn't mature enough to be able to apply those reasonings and those meanings. I sometimes think like I learned that life lesson too soon. It was proposed to me too soon, and I couldn't grasp the concept of what I was learning yet. And now I see those things that happen, and I'm like, oh man, that was great. I was just too young to get that.
Yeah, life is funny, man. Life is funny. I'm a God-fearing man. I think God has a sense of humor where you didn't get it the first time, and he's like, oh, well, okay. And then he brings it back around, and he's like waiting, like, you get it now? You get it? And then boom, the light bulb goes off, and it's true. Like a lot of things I've gone through as a kid, you're probably numb to, or you're like, this is dumb, this is stupid. You know, we know everything. Our younger selves. Yeah. And then you kind of experience something like that again as an adult after you've learned and matured and grown, and you're like, if I'd have just got this the first time, I would have spared myself a lot. But the irony is, in not sparing myself of all that, I'm able to understand this now.
Yeah, and you learn so much more through learning it the hard way. Sometimes, sometimes.
Hey, sometimes you're still requiring a little further learning.
You break the loop. That's how I like to look at it.
The OODA loop.
Yeah, OODA loop.
So tell us a little bit about what led you into join the service.
Yeah, so my adoptive father was in the Marine Corps. I was adopted pretty young. So the way that I grew up was he was very proud of being a Marine in the Marine Corps, and we always had Marines over to the house. We always had his barracks buddies coming in. Everything. It'll be the
Marine
like
birthday you're soon too.
Yeah. Trust me.
Crazy downtown.
Yeah, we're gonna celebrate for sure. But there was just always that. It was always present. I didn't know what life was without the Marine Corps, pretty much. Like whether before I even served, it was just there. It wasn't. It was all around, everywhere I was. The way that we cleaned our house, the way that we did our chores, the way that my dad behaved around us, like that was Marine Corps taught.
Your bed had the 45 degrees.
Yeah, exactly. If you were going to do something, you had to do it fully correct, not half-ass it, so to say.
I love it.
I grew up in that type of environment, and then I was put in the Young Marines, and which is just like a ROTC program. Yeah. But it was just during the summer, my parents would put me in the Young Marines. I'd learn discipline. I'd learn, the mottos, the core values. Yeah.
That's wild. I love it though. I think this is probably going to be go. Probably people don't agree with me, but I think everyone should do at least a year or two in the armed service.
I believe that as well, because even when I was overseas in the Middle East, a lot of them it's a requirement.
Yeah,
it's a requirement to do your 2 years out of high school. You do the military, and I think. Even like if it's not an infantry MOS or something combat related, I still think that there's so much maturity that can be gained through 2 years in the military that I see people, whenever I was younger, I'm 28 now, but whenever I got out of the Marine Corps, I did 5 years and I was 22. And I got out and I was interacting with other 22, 23-year-olds and I was like, man, what are these? I might have missed a couple steps in my life where I missed maturity levels. I didn't go to college. I didn't have those social interactions. Or like I didn't have any of that, but there was like this life obtained knowledge and this wisdom that I was like, man, you guys just don't comprehend that. Or like, this is very immature to me. And I think that if people had even experienced just 2 years of some of the things that the people in the military or law enforcement have to experience, that like, we would be in a different world over here,
I think there's a lot to learn in just basic, right?
Yeah.
Like I know people in the service, they're like basic, it's easy. But basic is easy for those who've gone through it and have excelled.
Yeah.
But it's not easy for the everyday person.
Yeah.
That's why I think like a lot of people I don't want to say a lot of people, but there's a group of people who don't experience resilience and hardship and being told what to do. Like I feel like there's a era of youth now where you tell them to do something and it's like, no, try that. Try that in the military. Yeah. It's just, because I had that mindset going into basic. Like, ain't nobody gonna fucking tell me what to do. I come from the inner city, right? I think I know everything. I think I'm the bee's knees. I remember pulling up, dude, The drill sergeant comes in. My apologies. Drill sergeant comes onto the bus and he immediately starts fucking yelling. And I remember going,
like,
this ain't the place to fuck around. Like, I was like, I'm going to just keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, I think everybody has that first night. You're just laying there and you're like, what did I do? Fuck did I sign
Why
up?
did I do this?
What is going on? Yeah, man. I think that's a shared experience for everybody. Just a huge ego check, huge humbling of like check. Who you are. You're just like, man.
And the beauty of it is you're with a group of people and you're all experiencing this suck together. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You don't have it the worst. You don't have it the best.
And it's known too, because you could look down the line and see the same look in that guy's eyes. That's like, man.
Dude, I actually remember we're all lining up, and I did follow. Like, they gave us this like checklist of things to bring and things not to bring.
Yeah.
And I promise you, I did not bring anything I was not supposed to bring. It was like 3 pairs of tighty whities.
Yeah.
I don't wear tight. I was like, that's what I'm packing. I'm gonna go buy. Everything was by the book, right? Because I was like, I am not gonna be that dude.
Yeah.
Bro, and I was looking at them just tossing people's bags and like throwing shit that wasn't supposed to be in there. And I'm looking at this kid. He's looking at me. And I know we have the same thing. It's like, it's too late to run.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of like, you ever watch The Office?
Oh, yeah.
Like Jim from The Office looking at the camera.
Yeah,
like
it's like,
oh, man.
But it teaches you, like, it teaches you that you're not important.
Yeah.
But you can be important if you're selfless, right? And that's what I learned through Basic is like, if you did things for your team and not for yourself, you found success in whatever the training exercise was and whatever, or if you covered for your brother or sister, you found success in whatever the objective was. When you put others above yourself, things just seem to work out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole first phase of like Marine Corps boot camp, right? Is like, you're not allowed to say I. It's illegal. You get in huge trouble for saying I. You can't, there's no phrases where I is a thing. You know, they strip you of individualism. You're not allowed to be an individual. It's group effort. Everything is not one person's fault. It's the group's fault. It's, if one person can be better, then we can all be better. So they strip you away of that. And I think that is a concept that's like lost nowadays, and like a lot of with the trends that happen, and this I got to do it myself and carry the load myself and these kind of things. Like, and you learn that quick. Your first couple weeks in Basic, you learn quick that like, I can't do this myself. There's no way.
Just me, it's not happening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think everyone should do a couple years in the military. I wish there was they should do that. I'm gonna write the president. Like, hey, you should do a 2-year trial.
Can we do a little
like don't make them sign for 4 or 6. Like, just do a 2-year trial.
Yeah.
And because I think what will happen is a lot of people will realize like, oh, this is for me, and then re-enlist or we'll call
stay in.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people will learn a lot about themselves and be like, hey, this ain't for me, so I'm gonna apply what I learned here and push into this industry or this. So like, I think it'll be a bit very beneficial.
And there's always like, even if you exited that experience after 2 years, you would still have an appreciation for the people that did it. You'd be like, okay. Like for me, I did 5 years, and I still have friends that are in, and like they're on 8 years now, 12 years, and I'm like, man, I really appreciate what you guys do. Like, you did more than me, and I know that like it's tough. Like I'm gonna appreciate you long after you've already forgot about me, and you're like, who's that guy? I'm gonna still be thinking like, man, that guy did.
There's something to be said about the men and women who do that. Yeah. So you grew up, I guess, surrounded by that, so it was like almost no choice.
Yeah. So I remember vividly in second grade, our teachers, we had to draw a poster, and it said, "What did you want to be when you grew up?" And my poster was split in half. It said a United States Marine and a WWE wrestler. That was my 2 lifetime goals.
Sergeant Slaughter, bro.
Was those 2 things. And then as I grew up in, military lifestyle, you move around a whole bunch, jump around a whole bunch. By the time it came for me to make my adult life decisions on what I wanted to do, I had a good scholarship offered to me for football, and I just sat with that whole summer, and it didn't feel right. And I knew it was like, all right, I got to call a recruiter. And I think within a week, I went on vacation. That same week, I called my dad, and I said, hey, I'm joining the Marine Corps. And that was about the gist of the conversation. I was like, I already called my football coach. I canceled the scholarship. I don't want it anymore. I'm going to join the Marine Corps. So that was it. And then the next phone call was a recruiter.
Well, what was his response?
His response was okay.
Yeah,
that was it.
Like,
there was no like depth to it.
Like,
it wasn't like, oh, what are you doing? You're throwing something away. It was just like, all right, sounds good. Let's go through with it. Like, what do you want to do? And it was just full go from there. At the time, I was a defensive end, and I was an All-American in high school, so I was a big defensive end. I weighed like 280, and the recruiter was like, hey, you need to be at 231. That's our minimum. That's our maximum for your height. I'm 6'4". You need to be 231. And within 2 weeks, I went from like 280, 285, and I was down to 225. Just was like, and I was like, put me on the first spot on the bus. Before I could back out of this decision, before I could think twice about it, I want my first spot. I'm committed. Let's go. So within those 2 weeks, dropped all the weight, didn't eat anything. I remember my favorite meal in my entire life to this date was box chow in Paris Island.
Dude, I still have an MRE.
Yeah.
I was like, when does this expire? I'm like looking for. I still have one.
My favorite meal ever was the first meal when I went to boot camp because I hadn't ate for 2 weeks. I would go on runs nonstop. I would run along a highway that I live next to and wear trash bags. I'd wear like 3 layers of trash bags over a pair of sweats in the middle of summer. Just run the weight off. I'd go inside and my reward was like I'd sip on a Gatorade. And then I'd think about food. I'd look at it like intentionally, be like, man, that'd be so good.
The Marines are a different breed. I remember I walked into I wanted to be a SEAL.
Yeah.
So I walked into the Navy recruiting office, right? And the first thing they do, because they probably get this a lot, they make you watch this video of like Life of a SEAL. Mm-hmm. I remember going, thank you. Walking out. Dude,
very
it was like
realistic video.
Well, the dude was like, I wake up. I'm using a Jocko voice. I don't know why, but he's like, I wake up and I run 10 miles, shower, bike to work. On lunch, I run another 5 miles. I'm like, this ain't for me.
Yeah,
like I would say right now, I'm not wasting your time.
Yeah, and I want to say, like, I know what I did. I don't want to promote the thing that I did to get to boot camp, right? Like, I know how unhealthy that is. I would hope that somebody doesn't ever see this and be like, that's what I got to do. Don't ever do it. Don't
Approach
do
it
it.
in a healthy manner.
Yeah. Don't do it my way. I gained that wisdom so people don't have to go through that,
Yeah, I don't have a cool story. I remember I went into the Marines and the dude was like, why should we have you? And I'm like,
why not?
I don't know. Like, aren't y'all hurting? And he's like, no. I remember going like, I'm 17, by the way. I was 17. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go look next door because it was all the recruiting office, and then I go into the National Guard office, and basically they were like, "You're the best thing since shoestring. We need you here." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll sign up with the Guard."
Yeah.
My mom didn't speak English, so we do the initial packet. I take my ASVAB, all that, and then she has to. I'm underage, so I told her for me to talk to them, she needs to sign this paperwork, and she's like, "That's a lot of paperwork." And I'm like, "Well, I mean, it's the military, like yeah. So she signed. Had no idea she signed for me to ship away. Yeah. Which she's still upset about. I go to basic. She's like, "You changed from the military." I went to basic. Like relax.
Yeah.
Like Puerto Rican mother. You've changed. I went to basic. Okay. I learned structure. Okay. That's about it.
Yeah, you learn how to organize.
Nothing crazy.
I joined at 17 too. I had to go through that same thing with my mom. My mom was like, "I don't want to sign the papers." We had to reach out to my biological father side of the family. He had passed away, and we had to get his death certificate just for me to join at 17. So it was like a whole ordeal. And my mom was still like, "I don't know. I don't think we should send you. We should wait." And I was like, "You either send me now or in a couple months. I'm going to be 18 anyways. We're going to have no choice in it. Yeah, you could be a part of this or you could not be a part of this. Either way."
Moms, man, they mean the best.
Yeah.
So you do 5 years. What did you learn? Obviously, you said you're coming out at a young age, and you're seeing the people you're surrounded by, and you just have different mindset. Like, what did that 5 years kind of teach you going into the world?
Man, there was so much life thrown at me in that 5 years. I jumped around a lot. It's crazy to even like be able to compress that kind of knowledge because the jobs that I did were not normal jobs to do in the military. when I got out, I was extremely lost. I was like all over the place. It was chaotic. I didn't know what to do. I went straight into law enforcement, but even during that, like it was like, I'm having a hard time relate to people. I'm having a hard time, like even just out in public, away from the job. Like, how do I talk to people? How do I, form relationships, meaningful friendships? So all of that was just so gone to the wind for me. It made no sense. But I had like all of this energy and like this drive to want to do more and to like be these things and have these friends and have these groups. It was just hard to get started. But the military taught me so much. It was just learning how to be able to apply all that and to transfer it over into like a civilian world side where a lot of like the military things weren't really accepted, or like people were very thrown off by them. So it was like trying to translate knowledge back and forth. What did I learn here that I could apply here, and what is allowed here or what was accepted in the military that's not accepted in the civilian side. So it was just a lot of deciphering for like probably the first like 2-3 years, getting out of there. But that like the broad question of like what I learned, everything. It's almost like paralysis in my brain. It's like a short circuit where it's like, what so much. What
drew you to law enforcement?
So I was about 6 months from my contract ending. I had done an extension on my contract and initially signed 4. I was in a very prestigious platoon called the Body Bears at the time, and I had to extend to stay in there. So I extended 13 months. It was coming up on like 6 months till it was like, all right, we either re-enlist or we get out. We got to make a choice. We've procrastinated long enough.
Who's this we? There he goes. No I. We. There's the we.
Not allowed to say I.
Yeah, we procrastinate.
It was like, so I'm at this point where I'm like, I got to figure out what to do. And unfortunately at the time, I kind of got hemmed up in a little bit of like administrative trouble. I was a platoon sergeant over this group of great men. And I had misstepped in a way that kind of reflected me negatively. So I had wanted to re-enlist. I had always had that idea, my dad did a full 20. He retired out. I'm going to try to do the same thing, And then talking to my admin and the people in charge of getting my re-enlistment package sent through, they're like, we don't think this is happening. Like, this is 2019. COVID had just happened. They're looking for any way to kick people out of the military. They're trying to cut back on military. They're not in recruitment. They're trying to, look for anything that they could do to deny re-enlistment packages. And that kind of happened to me. And I was like, okay, well, that's not an option. It wasn't. That decision itself was something I was kind of going in between. So to me, it felt like more of like, there's a life giving me a hint that it just wasn't meant to be. So let's figure it out. So I put in this Facebook group chat that I was in at the time for the Body Bears, this very prestigious platoon, very small platoon throughout the history of the Marine Corps. So we have this Facebook group chat. There's about 150 people in it. And I said, hey, I'm getting out in 6 months. Anybody hiring? So preferably down south. And about 5 minutes later, I get a message. It's like, hey, give this phone number a call. They probably got a job for you. No clue what it was. I was like, all right, let me give him a call. And he was like, it's going to be a good job. You should give him a call, see if you can get an interview set up. Called the number, and it was, this is so-and-so chief of police down here in Houston, Texas. And I was like, no way. I grew up not liking law enforcement. I grew up, my adoptive family was, and my family in general was like very on the outskirts of society. Of society. So I was like, fuck, man. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Let's see where it goes,
No, man, I don't really. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. So it was like, yeah, we'll just see. Send me the package. Get the whole package. They mail it up to me, and I'm just filling it out, answering honestly. And I still like have that uneasy feeling, like, man, my family's gonna hate this. Like, not hate it, but they're not gonna enjoy this for the most part. It's gonna be very weird to say, oh, he's in law enforcement now, especially with the things I did in my youth. It'd be like, oh, this is the guy.
Yeah, this is what you have to offer.
This is the guy that we're gonna let walk around and help society
as
out.
if people don't grow, right?
Yeah. So that's how I got into law enforcement, was just like pretty much out of desperation, to be honest. Like, be truthful, was like, I need something. At the time I had a wife and my son was just born, and it was like, yeah, I need some kind of job to rely on to feed them. Like, I don't have the Marine Corps anymore. I don't have the possibility to re-enlist. So it was a call for help in that Facebook group chat. It was, hey, I need anybody hiring, if it's down south, I would love it. But if not, like, any job works. I'm willing to do anything, and I'm willing to be good at any job. If somebody just throws it out there for me. Because like I said, I joined whenever I was 17. You don't think about things like Indeed or filling out job applications. Yeah. It's just like, man,
it feels weird even a thing. I feel like there's like newer ways of hiring now.
Yeah. Like, but that time for me, it was just like the only way you get a job, because the Marine Corps was easy. You just walk into the recruiting office. For me, the job was like, the jobs I had in high school and during summer was always like, you knew somebody that had a lot of money and they would pay you to do these things. So it was like, anybody got a job? Anybody have money they want somebody else to come and do some work for or something? I'll do it and I'll be good at it. Because that was my mindset. It was just like,
do it and do it well.
Yeah, exactly.
And how long did you do law enforcement?
I did law enforcement for 3 years. I started in 2020, right during the whole COVID stuff, and then I got out in 2023.
You were down south doing it?
Yep, right in Houston, Texas. Love that area.
Talk about, like, you don't just do, like, it's like, oh, I want to do the military.
Yeah.
Marines. I want to do law enforcement. Houston, Texas. It's like you're going into, like...
It's always got to be the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just how my life is.
What did you learn in law? Did you see anything in law enforcement that you kind of experienced, like, with military in regards to, like, the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the approach, or was it different?
I think so. There were some similarities, but it was different to me. I didn't, in the military, like in the Marine Corps, I could generally get along with pretty much anybody that was in my unit, that I had like known that we were going through the same hardships. We could relate to things very well. And you were trauma bonded, right? Like, you go through hard times together, you become close because of those hard times, and usually because you have no choice. Like in the Marine Corps,
these are your friends now.
It's like you don't get to pick your roommate. You just show up, and this is the person you share a room with. You got to be good. You have to be cool with it no matter what, even if you don't like the guy. With law enforcement, it was very, it was tough because you have a wide mix of people in that. You have some people in there that like this is their thing. Like, law enforcement is their thing and they devote themselves to it. And then you have people that are like, oh, this is just my job, right? So like, you have people that are all about it and some people that are just like, they're there because it's a paycheck and they show up for the paycheck. And it's hard to figure out who those people are. And like, there's a variety of other different types of people. Just for now,
a lot of ego in law enforcement.
Yeah, so it was like navigating the personalities, which was like something that was extremely hard. Was I didn't know who to trust and who to be friends with, and I have a hard time trusting in general. So it was just like, it was unsure footing. It's like, which way do I step in this? And I mean, as I developed, like throughout probably my second years, whenever I gained any type of relationship, I was kind of alone in that department for a while. Like, I just did things on my own. I would just stay quiet. I didn't really look for like a mentorship or guidance or like ask people to be my friends or like stick to certain people. Those relationships just grew over time when people understood like, oh, this is who this guy is. Like, this is Jesse. This is just how Jesse acts. And then people started to warm up to me. But I'm very closed off. From a distance, I look intimidating and closed off and scary.
It's the blue eyes.
It's that. And I understand how people like wouldn't want to approach me. And I was coming from the military where like you don't approach people come and approach you. So like it was just a old school standoff where it was like, are you going to talk to me or am I going to talk to you? Because I'm definitely not going to come up and talk to you. But it wasn't like there wasn't a want. It was just like, I I'm just going to
maybe,
sit here and
yeah,
maybe
it's not
maybe
worth
not.
it. He
I'm
doesn't
going to
wanna
wait.
talk to me.
I'm going to wait for them to come up and talk to me and initiate this.
No, I get that. The reason I ask is because, we see a lot of veterans come into the law enforcement to, and it's almost expected to get that like brotherhood and camaraderie and like almost same mission.
Yeah.
I mean, different obviously because you're dealing with civilians and citizens and you're there for them, where in the Marines you're there for like you're battling people.
Yeah.
And then your country's behind you. Like you're doing it for them. Here you kind of have like a partnership with your citizens because you could be doing something for one person one day and then they can be the reason you're there the next.
Yeah.
Like it's very hard to navigate.
Yeah, and I think like that is very common. Like how many Marines, how many veterans, get out and then go into law enforcement. And I think a lot of people do find their way in that. I just don't think it was necessarily my way to find it. And I was searching for some kind of camaraderie and like the same type of relationships that I had whenever I was in a platoon. That was like, oh, I know that if I go into law enforcement, these will be like-minded individuals with a like-minded mission that have shared thoughts, and we're all working towards the same goal and objective. And then when I got to law enforcement, that was the hard part, was like, oh, wait a minute. Everybody kind of has their own mission here and their own objective and their own interest. Like some people were good with drunk drivers and some people were good with accidents and some people were good with gangs and narcotics. And everybody had their own lane and things that they were good at. And like from the military, it was like, no, we all pick something to focus on together.
Yeah.
And we'll focus on that and attack that together. So whenever you got out and it was like, like which road do I take? And depending on the road I take depends on what niche or like what group of people I fall into. It was very hard for me to do that because you always want to pick the right answer right off the bat. It's like, you don't know what the right answer. This is new to me. So like, where do I go?
And there's almost no right answer.
Yeah, there is no, because
the right answer is the one for you.
Yeah. And it was like trying to go into that without pressure because like, oh man, I might like this guy and I might connect with him, but that doesn't mean that I have to do what he does. I could do something completely different and we could still connect and relate. But in the military, you only connected with the people that you guys all did the same thing together. Like infantry connected with infantry, and
which I guess it's similar, just on a larger scale, right? Because like you may have 10 guys in drugs and narcotics here, and you have an entire platoon.
Yeah, and when you're
infantry.
And like whenever you first start out on patrol, it's like everybody is new here, and we're all like trying to make ourselves known to the people that have been here for a long time. So it's like, how do I make my impression, and how do I do that in the field that I want to be good in? So that was like the confusing part, was like all the people that I was in the academy with and came in with, it wasn't like immediate, like, all right, guys, let's like make this big push together. It was, all right, I'm gonna go make sure I get like a DWI tonight or like a DWI tonight, or
I'm gonna go run traffic.
I'm gonna go run traffic all night.
I'm gonna go sit on his block.
And it was like
everyone's doing their own thing.
Yeah,
I
everybody's trying to find their own way, and that was not hard. It was just like that. I became more closed off. I was like, okay, everybody's kind of in this, and it sounds negative, but I don't mean it in a negative way. And everybody was kind of in it for themselves, which is a good thing. Like everybody's trying to find something that they're good at so they could pursue that and be good at that thing so they could offer something to the department. But for me, it was like, how do I be good at all these things? And it was stimulus overload, overdrive. And it was like, so I became very closed off and like very to myself. So I could sit there and I could focus on like how to correct this, how to make this better, overanalyze. I have like real bad compulsive, like I think about my thoughts a lot and what I'm going to do. So it's like overanalyzing everything to the most microscopic level.
Which is easy to do when you're thrown into something like that. It's not what you expected, and now you're trying to figure out, okay, what's my place here?
Yeah.
That, like I said, back to that purpose. Mm-hmm. What's my place here? It could be so overwhelming for some, and we'll lead into that. Like, so what, you leave law enforcement, what do you get into after that?
Man, after that, it was, so law enforcement was happening. I started to go through some big life changes. A lot of like pretty catastrophic events were happening to me. So I just kind of hit a wall where it was like, I need help. Like I need help right now. And it's got to be something more than like I'm capable of doing. I don't have the knowledge to help myself. which was like that was a really low spot to hit, to realize that like, oh, I dug this hole and I don't know the way out of this hole that I dug, but I'm responsible for the hole. You know, like I take accountability for it, but I don't even know how to get back out of it. So I started going to therapy. I had one of my coworkers was like, "Hey man, you seem like really off. Like you seem pretty bad. Like, are you good?" And you know, one of those those answers is like, "Yeah, I'm good." And they're like, "Well, here's this number for a therapist, just in case you need it." And like immediately that same day, I called a therapist.
See, that's awesome. Not to interrupt you, but like, especially today, it's easy to hear that I'm good and go, okay, and go about your way. But he knew enough to go, I'm understanding what you're saying. I'm not going to be overbearing. Yeah. I'm going to provide this resource anyway, just in case.
Yeah, just in
you're
case.
You're not good in the future.
And like they saw through the facade. Yeah. Because like as soon as I left shift that day, it was like I couldn't get to my phone fast enough. It was like, yeah, like I'm really fed up on this. Like I don't know where to go. And I had been sitting with that feeling for months and months and months. You know, so it was like a big buildup. It was like just such an overwhelming feeling that I needed help, and I don't know how to ask for help. Like it was a bad feeling. So anyways, I go to therapy. My therapist starts to work with me a whole bunch, and I have this growing appetite to know more about myself and to understand myself more. And like through that became like studying. So then I would like really start to study psychology and philosophy a lot. I really fell in love with like philosophy. And I always had since I was a kid. But this was like, we're diving in. We're going to really indulge in this feeling. So kept pursuing law enforcement, but I had like this little side thing where like I was just reading books all the time and trying to learn more about myself and try to understand myself and where to navigate and where to go. And then I had a bad incident happen in law enforcement where I ended up getting hurt pretty bad. And I just knew at that time, my son lived up here in Ohio. I was still in Texas. And that incident happened, and it was like, yeah, it's time. Like, it's time to get out of law enforcement. And there was always a constant debate. Was like, well, maybe I get in law enforcement in Ohio. And my final traffic stop that I ever did on the last night that I ever worked, like, came to the perfect conclusion for me. You don't mind me sharing the story?
Absolutely. I'm all about it.
So earlier in my law enforcement career, probably within my first year on patrol, we had a suicide call. And we show up at this house, and this, he was like 16 or 17, had tried to like completely gut himself open, commit suicide, took a scalpel and wanted to open up his whole chest. So we show up on scene, and this kid's like freaking out. We're like trying to hold pressure, you know, trying to figure out that. Wait till EMTs come, till medics come. They could do more. They have more supplies. Right now, we're just patrol officers. They're showing up to this. I'm like running back to get my med kit from the car. And we're sitting there and we're applying pressure. And I'm talking to this kid, and he's so like depressed. And his room is filled with like this crazy art. Like he's a great artist. And I've always really, really valued and appreciated artwork. Like I paint myself. I do sculptures myself. I've done graphic designs for people. Like I really love artwork. I've done tattoos on people before, you know, like just crazy spur of the moment stuff. And I was like, man, your artwork's really good. I was like, what's going on, man? And he's like, well, I'm like, my parents want me to get a job. I just want to do artwork, man. But he came from a Hispanic family. So this big family where like, they're very pressured to go straight into work. And like, it's like, all right, man, like, well, have you ever thought about using artwork to make money? And he's like, I've tried, but they told me that's not a real job. And he's like, I don't know what to do. And I just can't take it anymore. And I was like, well, come on, man. I was like, let's think about, and like, this guy is like, got a huge cut in his stomach. And I'm like sitting there, I'm trying to bring him down so he's not thinking about the injury, you know? So he's not thinking about the reality of what's happening below his neck. And I'm like, all right, man, like, well, let's think about this. And I'm like, strategically like trying to block his view so he can't see anything. I'm like, well, let's talk about all the careers that deal with artwork. And at the time, when I was in the military, I used to tattoo people. And for every tattoo I did on somebody, they had to tattoo me, no matter if they were good at drawing or not. So my whole right leg is all my friends, all my people who were in my platoon. Every time I tattoo them, it's covered in just shitty tattoos, man. Like chicken scratch. I'll never cover them up. But I showed them those, and I was like, look, man, like you could tattoo. You just get a gun, and like you figure it out. And I was like, you work on this and that, and we're talking about it. And then EMTs come up. I never hear from the kid again until the very last night I was on patrol, and I worked night shift, and it was like 5 a.m. I get off at 6. And I'm just like, I'm just going to make this last traffic stop. Like, I don't have to. I know this is my last night. And, like, I already knew. I was like, I'm not going to write this person a ticket. Yeah, like, this is just going to be, like, I'm like, last one, just for fun, just to, like, get one last one. And I pull this person over, and it's that kid years later. Same kid that got himself open. And he's covered head to toe in tattoos. And he's driving a nice car.
See what you did?
He's driving a nice car. And the crazy thing was I didn't recognize him. So I go up, I'm like, I'm Officer Beckwith. So the reason I stopped you is this. I go through my 7 points. And I go back, I run them. And, like, in the system, you could always see if there was a previous interaction with that person. And it was like, it flashed, and it was like, mental health interaction X on this date this year. And like, that's all the history I had. So I was like, okay, no history on this guy. He's not up to anything. He's just a young kid that's just going out with his girlfriend. His girlfriend was in the car. And I walked back to the car, and he was like, do you not recognize me? Do you know who I am? I was like, no, man, I do 1,000 traffic stops. I was like, I'm sorry, dude, but I don't. I was like, it seems like you're doing good, though. I was like, I saw we had a call for it. And he was like, yeah, you were the one that pushed me into what I do now. He's like, do you remember that kid that like tried to commit suicide a couple years ago? And I was like, yeah. I was like, that's you. And he's like, yeah, I'm a good tattoo artist now. He's like, I make a lot of money tattooing. And like, I was questioning whether or not I should go back into law enforcement. And that night, I had that heavy on my heart. I was kind of just looking for any reason. And I made that traffic stop, and I was like, you know what? Like, that's it. Like, that's the conclusion. Like, I can exit law enforcement now with a free conscience, and to know that I made like a positive impact. Because that's all I wanted to do. Was I wanted to get into law enforcement to change people's minds that had a mind like me, that didn't like law enforcement for whatever reason. But like, I can change your perspective that I'm not just this bad guy out to get you and to correct all the wrongs. Like, I barely wrote tickets. I'm just here to like help you out. That's my whole job as a police officer, is to help out the community, is to better the community. It's not to do all these crazy things that you see and people talk about. So like, to know I had that impact, I was like, I'm done.
Dude, that's
it.
Awesome.
I'm getting out now, and after that I moved to Ohio. I really pursued my degree in psychology. I was competing in powerlifting at the time. I had like a future in powerlifting. And I started working for Walmart just as like a side job. It was like, they have a big warehouse in Ohio. So I started working in a freezer, and I ended up fracturing my spine. I was out of work for 10 months, couldn't do nothing except for schoolwork and except to study. I couldn't even go to the gym. So like, my passion for powerlifting was like slowly diminishing. Like, I was spiraling into this like depression, where it's like, I can't do anything. And every time I try to do something, it made the pain worse. So it was like, what do I do?
Almost like you were forced to focus.
I was forced to sit there. I had to sit in it. I had to sit and like, that's where I like came up, where I had to find myself, because like I had all these things going on, and like all these stories and these experiences and these like traumatic events that had happened, I'd never sit down to face them. It was always just like, all right, what's next? On to the next thing, on to the next thing. And I had this time where like I had no other choice except just to sit here and just sulk in it and figure it out. And I had artwork, and I had reading, and I had poetry. And it was like, well, got nothing to do all day except for write poems, do paintings, sculptures, and read books. And that was it. And I would try to go to the gym. I would do just like basic body movement stuff. But like those high expectations I had as being a powerlifter were just like every day. We're just like going down. And I just refused to accept it until it was just like, yeah, that's it.
Like I said, man, life is funny.
Yeah.
Like if I truly believe we all have a purpose. We all have a reason to be here.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is finding it, right? And sometimes if you ignore the signs, you just maybe provided the opportunity where you don't get to ignore it anymore.
Yeah, you had to confront it.
So you
it's
have to
thrown at
confront
you.
it.
Yeah.
So you just got your degree.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
That's huge.
Yeah.
What have you done with, like, have you started anything while pursuing your degree? And what does that degree mean for you? Like, what are your plans?
Yeah. So during those 10 months of being injured, I had to do something. Like, I couldn't just sit around. So I had like this great idea to start my own nonprofit. I had no clue about like the administrative side, the paperwork side, but I was like, if you do something for the better good of somebody else, then like you could just go and do it. So at the time, there's a psychological test that deals with artwork called House Tree Person. It was coined by John Buck, who is a psychologist, but the point of the test is you have somebody draw, paint, whatever, a house, a tree, and a person. And through the details and characteristics of those objects, you could uncover things about that person's subconscious. So like, say they draw a tree and like the tree is hollow or dead, like that represents something of the subconscious. Or like it has a deep root system, which means like somebody has deep ties to family or they have a strong connection with family. So like if somebody's drawing roots for the trees, that means something. If somebody draws a house and it has broken windows or the door's open, they all have like these hidden meanings. Or when somebody draws a person, if the person has big eyes or a small nose or like huge hands compared to their body, like they all have these meanings and they're not intentional that the person drew them that way. They didn't know the meaning or why they drew them. There's a subconscious, like there was something they don't understand about themselves that pushed them to draw that way. So what I started doing was, I am not like certified in that at all, but I had a heavy interest in it. I still am, but like I'm very in love with like the Jungian or like Carl Jung and like his work with the subconscious and how there's layers to us that we don't know about, or there's reasons I do something that I have no understanding of why I do it. It was just like uncovering that, like, why do I do this?
I just want to take a second to shout out a few companies who've believed in me. These were one of our first official sponsors, so huge shout out. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Carbo Jewelers, established in 1997 on the values of honesty and integrity. Whether you're searching for the perfect piece, need expert repair services, visit Carbo Jewelers in Newark's Ironbound District, where your jewelry is always in safe hands. This episode is also brought to you by Continental Jewelers, proudly serving Hudson County, New Jersey since 1964. Whether you're seeking a timeless piece or need expert repairs, they've got you covered. Visit Continental Jewelers, your trusted source for all things jewelry. You can find them on Instagram at Carbo Jewelers or online at carbojewelers.com. Lastly, big shout out to Carbo Trading. Besides coins, precious metals, and jewelry, if it could be traded and collected, he's probably got it. They can be found on Instagram at carbo.trading. You can find all of our sponsors out online on our sponsor page at therelentlessproject.com. I love this shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
So there was like this really, really deep interest. And like sometimes the only way that you could find out about yourself is learning through other people. And I was going through Pittsburgh. I used to come up here quite often. I'm from Steubenville, which is about 50 minutes away. And I would come up here like just to get out of the house. I have fractured spine. I had nothing better to do, So it's like I come up to Pittsburgh. I go thrifting. I love vintage clothes. I go to all these thrift shops and stuff. And I just see like all these homeless people. And like I would encounter them. I walk up and talk to them. There was a point where like I really loved like making art out of things that weren't art. So like I would give homeless people new cardboard and Sharpies to make new signs with, but I would buy their signs off of them because I thought like those were very heavy. And I would frame their signs like the homeless will do anything for food, things like that. And like I thought there was so much meaning in those signs that like it was like a cry for help, like I did so many years ago, So I would buy people's signs off of them. And I was like, well, why don't I like try to help people out more than just pay for their sign? And then I was framing their sign. I was trying to set up acrylic so I could make like little coffee tables out of it. And like all the all the proceeds to any of this were with the intent of giving it back to the homeless, of like going back to this person and being like, yo, your sign, I just sold that thing for like $200. Here you go, man. Like, use it wisely, you know, but like, there's more to you than just sitting here. Like, what you did was artwork. What you created was artwork, and it's valuable. But I took that house tree person thing and I kind of ran with it. So I started going into the homeless shelters and just like walking around and talking, like any homeless shelter I could find. It was just like, hey, I'm here. I would just like to sit down and like interview people. And like I had the Sony cameras, I had microphones that you clip on your shirt. And I was like, I just kind of want to hear you guys' life story. It's like, I'm soul searching for myself right now. And like, however you guys got to this point in your lives, like, I'm probably not that far from it. Like, you were once just like me, like out here, just like, you know, like homeless people are normal people. Something bad just happened to them. And it's something that can happen to any of us at any moment.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a very thin line. So like in my head is like, you're no different from me. But what was the line that you crossed that got you to this predicament? Because like, I'm extremely interested to know, and I would like to know more about you. So I just started going and interviewing homeless people. I just recorded the interviews. And these people in the shelters with like the intent of like, how can I use their stories and project it out to the world for the world to hear, so they can make this connection that like us as human beings, we're not so different from one another. Like the person that you drove by on the curb that you were like, man, they're gross and dirty. Like that's just another version of you, man. So I started doing those interviews, and then I started integrating the house tree person into it. So I started bringing art supplies. So in the back of my car was like 30 canvases, buckets and buckets of paint, paintbrushes, camera equipment, sound equipment, and a table. And I would go to these homeless shelters and set up my table, set up my paintbrushes, all my artwork, my canvases. I'd set up the camera, and then I'd walk in the shelter and be like, hey, who wants to paint a painting today? Who wants to talk about their life story, interview, paint a painting? So they all want to talk. You know, they all
Nobody wants to listen.
Yeah,
You
but
know
they
what I mean?
all
So
want.
this is
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, they all wanted somebody to hear them out. Like people spend a long time with that pain and just hope that somebody one day wants to hear their story, you know? And like you could see that in a lot of people's eyes. And that was my whole thing for probably like a solid 6 months, was like, I still have them. Like I have this big group of paintings that I don't know what to do with. They're just hanging up in my house because like I appreciate them so much. Like they're not amazing paintings, but they're just all of house tree persons, different renditions, different views. And I have all the interviews recorded. And I started a YouTube channel, and then like life got chaotic, so I didn't keep up with it. I didn't keep pursuing that, but like I still have like all the film, but that was my big thing for like a long time. And then I got a job offer with YSS in Wheeling, West Virginia, where I was a peer mental health specialist. So like I got a bunch of clients, at-risk youth, young adults. So from the ages of 12 to 26, I was mentoring them, and I was coming up with treatment plans, helping them out. I was integrating like a lot of this knowledge that had helped me to help other people. That wasn't like a very formal way. So like I was going to middle schools, high schools, going to appointments. I was going to correctional facilities, just pretty much like trying to share this knowledge that I've gained in any way that I thought that they could relate to it. And like I had a crazy upbringing. Like my life was crazy. I've done a lot of crazy things. So there wasn't a lot of things that I couldn't relate to or have a lot of empathy for a person about, like a shared feeling or like a shared emotion. I was like, I felt that too. And I've just felt it in a different way, but it's the same emotion. So how can I translate my feelings into your feelings so you could understand it and you could learn through it without having to go through the difficult times I had to go through to understand that. So that kind of took off, and then martial arts picked up for me. You know, I was using it as I couldn't go to the regular gym, and I've always, since a little kid, been into fighting. You know, so martial arts was there, and then that picked up, and people started believing in me, and I was like, "Fuck, maybe I got a chance at this. Like maybe they see something I don't see, you know." And I had like 4 jobs all going at the same time, and through jiu-jitsu, some guy I work with now was like, "Hey man, you ever thought about like being a lumberjack?" And I was like, you know what? No, but
Can't
I could be good at anything, right? And I took
No, but I will.
I took some time off from all my other jobs, and then got put on this crew of people that cut trees down and process them. And I was like, yeah, this ain't bad. It pays good money, and it allows me to create my own schedule so I could go and train in the meantime. So I kind of put all that to the side, kept pursuing my degree and like my knowledge, knowing that maybe I don't know what the purpose is now, but eventually someday all this knowledge will still continue to help somebody out.
Well, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but there's this amazing organization called QRFL that I've recently started talking to, and just a group of guys. It's run by 2 former Green Berets. Mm-hmm. Well, those are the 2 I've spoken with. Yeah, it's a big organization, a lot of good people in there, and their mindset, man, it's all about you, not me. Mm-hmm. Kind of what you mentioned earlier. It's not I. Like everything they embody is helping other people, and they're working with veterans and first responders. And they've developed this app. I was telling you about it earlier. They developed this app where when you're going through a crisis, you press a button and you're immediately connected with mental health specialists who help you throughout whatever you may be going through. And they create an action plan. Like everything's set up already, tailored to you so that they can best help you. Yeah. And if you need, they can dispatch a team to where you're at to further the help. This app. So in doing that, their whole goal is to not only provide help and assistance, but also help people kind of get back to being a person again, pushing, right? Like they're helping, they're partnering with so many people and helping with, giving people purpose, right? So there's gyms and mental health organizations and all this stuff that they're doing and partnering to provide for. I'm going to connect you guys. I don't know what that means, and I don't know but in my conversation with them, they're literally like, dude, we're looking for just partner with good people doing good things. Yeah, man. And we'll find a place. So I don't know what that means.
That mission itself is awesome, but like we had a quick conversation before where like I don't think things happen for no reason. Like there's always a purpose to something.
Yeah, even if you don't understand it. I'm like, military, LEO, into the mental health stuff. Like, what are the chances, right? And like the way we even came up to even have this conversation, right? Like, I'm like, this isn't by mistake. This isn't.
It wasn't formal either. It was just kind of like a shot in the dark.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, absolutely. Like, you're talking because I believe everyone has a story, right? But it's all about intention, right? I've had people, hey, can I come on? I want to push this fight, and it's like, okay, like,
I remember I told you that too. It was like, but that was just my opening line.
But right? That's just like we can do that in learning about you. And like I get some people who are like, well, I don't want to talk about myself. It's like I just want to promote this. Yeah. I was like, well, this isn't a promotion. This isn't this is to have a essential conversation with people, and in doing that, you'll talk about your.
The promotion is in the person itself, right? So it's not like, I want to promote this event. It's like, let me show you why you should be interested in this. There's a bigger meaning to it kind of deal. It's not like I just want to get on and use this. It's like, no, I've got some great things that I love to speak about.
And everything you mentioned, I'm like, dude, this is going to be a good conversation. And I'm sitting here probably not saying much because I'm like,
oh, you're good.
I'm like psychology and mental health and, psychology especially, man. Like, I love one of my favorite classes in college. It wasn't, I went for marketing, communications, and advertisement. It wasn't any of the stuff dealing with that. It was the gen ed psychology class that I took because I remember going in, and I'm big on conversation and communication. Like if you know me, communication is everything because with communication, everything else comes. Are you a good person? It's got to be
like the foundation.
Yeah, it's got to be the foundation, man, because I always tell people, you can tell me you hate me, and that you can tell me you hate me, and that I'm a piece of shit. Yeah, it's how you tell me, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you are good intention and you just something about me you don't like, I have to accept that because you've communicated it to me well in a way that it's not meant to attack me. It's just meant to communicate to me.
Yeah,
like,
it's just,
I don't like you, what you stand for. And I've had a lot of conversations with people where it's like that, and we're like, all right, cool.
all right, that's cool. You're allowed to have
Yeah,
that.
you're allowed to have that.
That's okay.
But my whole point is you can tell someone exactly how you feel so long as it's communicated effectively.
Yeah.
You know, you just come up to someone like, fuck you, I hate you. Oh, well, fuck you. Like, fuck you too. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
there's no communication in that.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, these are some things that I've seen from you. I don't know what your intentions are, but the way they've come off to me, I can't appreciate and I don't accept. Who am I to argue that?
Yeah.
Now I have to self-reflect and be like, what am I doing
Yeah,
that's caused that?
It leaves your mind wandering so much about what it like. Like, I think the easy example to use in this is like whenever you break up with somebody, right? And it's like, what did I do? Why was this so bad? And they're like, oh, it wasn't you. And it's like, no, it was. Like, just tell me.
Yeah.
So I understand that and I could grow from it, right? Like, you give me something that I could attach to and be like, okay, well, I can improve that, right? Like, I tell somebody like, I just don't like you because you're bad at communication, right? But I've at least given them the thing that I think that they lack in, that they could go and focus on and work on. And then they could come back to me and be like, hey, I really worked on communication.
Yeah.
And like, I'm good at it now. And it's like, okay, now my hate for you is non-existent because like the thing I disliked about you, you went and worked on. So there's nothing for me to dislike. Now we could just have a good conversation. And like, that's not to say like people should, establish themselves based on the opinions of other people.
No, absolutely not.
Or
But
like be like, oh, this person hates me and I need to do everything in their power to make sure they don't hit me. How can I fix that? It's just like a corrective criticism. Like,
and if you choose to work on that, great. If you choose not to,
if
great.
you don't think that there's anything wrong with it, then cool.
But the psychology class, man,
Yeah.
I remember the professor came in, and he was like, "We're going to talk about abortion today," and immediately it's a hot topic, right? Heavy topic. Mm-hmm. Everyone's on edge, whether you're for it or against it. Regardless, you're like, senses heightened.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute.
And he's like, and I'm going to tell you why I'm for abortion. Immediate split in the room.
Straight to the point.
Right? Immediate split in the room. Mm-hmm. If you're for it, you're like, oh, yeah, fine. And if you're against it, you're like, probably hate this professor.
Yeah.
Next day comes in. Hey, we're going to talk about abortion. I'm going to tell you why I'm against it.
Oh,
and you're like, wait, hold on. You were just for it. Mm-hmm. Oh, now you're fake. Or not, whatever. But the whole point, he would do this with hot topics, abortion, capital punishment.
Yeah.
It was just an array of topics, and it was meant to get you to open up your mind, inspire debate, and not debate now where it's like, I don't agree with what you're saying. You're a piece of shit. I hate you. You should die. That's debates now, and it's like,
it's not. It's
dude,
not. You have no
you don't
points.
agree with me with something. You're not wishing bad on me. Why? Like, we can agree to disagree. That's the beauty of life. But it was to inspire like actual debate.
Yeah.
Like, these are why I'm for it. This is why I'm against it. And to allow people to create their own understanding of the actual topic and see where you actually stand. And it was amazing because no matter where you felt, when he argued for it, he had topics and research and things that you're like
things that backed it up.
He backed it up, and then he would flip the script on the other end and backed it up. And now you're sitting there. If you had a good intention, right? If you actually cared and wanted to apply yourself, you're sitting there and you're like, no, this is why I believe what I believe.
Yeah.
And like it
and you were solid in like your foundation of it.
And then he would allow for the students to debate it, and whenever it got out of hand, he'd stop the debate. So if you wanted to debate and you wanted to continue the debate, you had to be very tactful and mindful with your debate, because as soon as it started getting, hey, no, it's over, done.
Like whenever it started to get like
personal.
Whenever it's like
event. Dude, some debates went 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Some went a half hour.
So with that class, how many people swapped their sides on like that second day?
A few.
Right? Because like if my professor's coming into the class and he gives me all these points, and one, he's a figurative authority, right? So like I want to agree with that person. I want that person to be on my side, so I'm like susceptible to just agree with what they say because they're my authoritative figure. So like how many people came into that class the next day and were so shook by that actually, and then they had to be like, well, I'm going to swap sides now. Like,
And the interesting thing is by the end, people would ask, because he would open up for questions, where do you stand on it?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. That would be his response. Doesn't matter where I stand on it.
Because like there's this really good tactic with talking to people to get people to like to understand people's true self, where you ask them questions and you disagree with them, like the first couple questions. And then the next couple questions, you totally agree with them. Even if you don't personally, you just do that. And it throws people off of the OODA loop of like, oh, I got this person on my side. Or like, oh, this person doesn't like me.
It's like, oh, wait, where do
So then they have to stand on like their own foundation of what they believe is true, not what they expect, what they want you to believe is true. Or like, they're not going to say things that they think they want you to hear. So like if I'm talking and I'm like, I think this is what he wants me to say, this is going to make him happy with me or make this person like me more, then it takes away that feeling. I can't do that if you just disagree with me at first, right off the bat, and then you agree with me. It throws me off. It's like, now I have to just be true to myself and true to my character. So that professor's tactic almost seems like that to me, that he throws that out and he's like, I'm going to see who's going to like stand true on their ground or who's just swapping sides because I'm the professor.
Yeah, well, now you can swap sides because you don't know what side he's on.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's what I loved about it, because I'm like, it forces you to think.
Yeah.
Or it forces you to like, because the debates were optional, right? Like he didn't force you to debate. He encouraged you.
Yeah.
But he didn't force you. So it would force people to either, no, this is what I stand for and I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
Or it forced people to go, I don't really know why I stand for this.
It makes you question it. Yeah.
And like they sat back.
Yeah, like you find out if you're standing on solid ground, if you're a little bit shaky in it.
And I like that because there was a lot, like the capital punishment one was one that like I was like, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he had some arguments where I'm like,
you're like, wait a minute.
No, that's true. Like why would I wish this upon someone? Like,
yeah.
Especially like he would bring faith, right? I'm a faith-bearing man. I'm like, that does kind of go against my faith.
Yeah, it makes you question yourself.
Yeah, and I'm like, I
love that because I love being in those moments, because like whenever you have to question yourself like that, you have to find out who you are, and you have to find like the hill that you're willing to die on. You might think this is the hill, but then you find out like this isn't that hill. You know, it's some other hill that I have to really dig deep and understand this and do more research on it.
Even with like online, like I see there's a lot of speakers who come in and talk about like the psychology of negotiation.
Yeah.
You know, and there's like things they use where you're like, that is very interesting. Like how to navigate a conversation, how to navigate someone who says, like for sales especially. Yeah. Like there's this one guy, I forget his name, but he structures it in a way that it takes away all the excuses people make and it forces you to make a yes or no. Yeah. And he's like, and that's all I want. I'm not going to force a product on someone who doesn't want it, who doesn't need it. You know, I'm going to shed all the fat in this conversation so that they are forced to tell me yes or no, because if it's a yes, you have a sale. If it's a no, you're not wasting time. Yeah. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, how do I apply this for every conversation, right? Yeah. Like, let's skip through all the BS and let's get to the meat and potatoes. Yeah. And let's get to business.
It's funny because like that's how almost all my conversations are. Is like they're either very short and surface level because that's what I know. Like usually pretty quick when you talk to somebody, you're like, oh, there's not much depth here. Like not against the person, but it's like we're not going to get anywhere.
Like,
so it's like, hey, what's up?
Individual.
Yeah. So it's like we're either going to sit down and we're going to talk about how the pyramids were made.
How were the pyramids made?
Couldn't tell you, man. I'm actually reading the Kaibula, which is the second time I've read this book, which talks about Hermetic philosophy and the philosophers that ancient like pharaohs and Egyptians had. Because I think like that's an unanswered question, right? Like,
dude, I go crazy with that stuff. Like, I go crazy with that stuff too. It's like what in everything you've read, where do you lead? Where does it lead you to believe like how the pyramids were made?
So that's the thing is I don't have a lot of thoughts on like the architecture of it. I just know that like whatever they did was more advanced than what we thought was capable for their time period.
Absolutely.
So then my mind immediately goes to like, okay, so the concepts and philosophies that they proposed at the time were probably way more advanced than what we thought they could have been back then. So I have a deep-rooted I don't like necessarily want to know how the pyramid were made. I was just like, man, like these people were incredibly smart individuals.
I want to know.
And maybe they had outside help, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't doubt that. Like that's not like I'm not like one of those people. But like, I'm like, so like maybe they also had some outside help with like their philosophy and their theology and like what they believe in. Cause like, so that's what I'm studying and like trying to read more is like
things.
I'm reading about like how like the pharaohs had everything set up and their morals and their ethics and like I said, all their other stuff, because I'm like, if they did the pyramids, then they had to be really high level thinkers.
Well, like we're told it was slaves who did it.
Yeah. But it makes no sense.
Everything is like measured perfectly.
Measured perfectly, and like the bricks that they used came from like a specific spot that was like so far away that it would have taken like 6 years to get one. Don't quote me on that.
No, don't quote me either, because I've read so many things. So like they can battle each other, but
so it's like, but I know that one of those blocks would have taken like so many years to get there, and that's just one. Not talking about the thousands it took to make them.
Well, not only that, everything's so precise, right? So like if you're forcing someone to do this, obviously, or not obviously, but it was almost like everything was intentionally made
And
to be exactly
measured.
as it was measured, calculated, the direction, the base,
The way it sits, it like aligns with whatever.
Yeah, like everything it aligns with. You can't force someone to take that much care into something,
especially if they're being forced to do so, right? Like
so
it
like,
doesn't make sense.
It was designed.
Yeah.
So like begs the question, I've heard like giants did it. I've heard, alien species came in. Like I've heard so many things, and I'm not going to talk about what I believe, because then people are going to be like, oh, this dude's nuts. But it was not just like, oh, let's throw a pyramid here.
Yeah, no, it wasn't just random.
I want you guys to put it up.
No, it wasn't like that. I think that there's like some kind of hidden knowledge. Right?
I feel like I'm on Joe Rogan, dude. He'd be talking about all that stuff too.
Oh, I don't even know how we got here, but we're talking about it. I think that there's something that's undiscovered, or like not undiscovered. I just think that there was something lost in translation.
Well,
that's what I think is
makes you question, right? Because like we discover a lot of things, and like even in the hieroglyphics, that the things that they've pictured in there can equate to things we do today.
Yeah,
and you're like, how were they that advanced? Like it's almost like something happened, like a reset.
Yeah, like we're missing. That's how I feel. Like I feel like we're missing just this huge gap. There's this huge unknown.
Do you think we're going to another reset? Like you ever think about that? Not to be weird, not to get crazy.
No, so I think like history repeats itself, right? So like if you look at just America as a whole, like we're only coming up on like 200 years.
Look at Rome.
Yeah.
They had like sewer systems and back in the day.
Mm-hmm. They had like all this crazy stuff, and then they have to completely restart. But like every like society that you look at, like it's like X amount of years until like a hard reset happens. And it's like we're kind of reaching that point in our history right now where like there's something that's got to come, because like I think it's an atmosphere that's felt in our nation, is like everybody is like kind of like waiting on this big change or like something big to happen, right? But nobody knows what it is, but we're all just kind of like, oh man, so much shit is going on right now.
Yeah.
Like there's no way that we don't crack, or we don't like something doesn't happen with all this. So I think like that feeling is like maybe not our generation. Like we're the ones that anticipate that feel those things. They're like, man, something's got to change, or like something's going to happen. But maybe like the generation after that, they experience like the actual change. It's like that old saying that's said so often. That's like hard times create hard men. How does it go?
Yeah.
And then
hard times create
hard men.
Strong men.
Yeah.
Strong men create.
Easy.
I gotta Google it now.
Yeah, it's like So it's like tough times create strong men. Strong men create easy times, and easy times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Hard times create. So it's an endless circle.
Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
So it's the endless revolution of it, right? So like I think that the time we're in right now is like that. Like things are getting tough again, and like for quite a while since like I don't know, like I think like a pivotal thing in the American history would be like 9/11, right? Like that caused a lot of conflict. Like that's something my father saw stuff with, and they experienced. So like that created a very hard time where like this generation had to toughen up because we didn't know when that was going to end. Like we were
Yeah.
being prepared for that in school systems, and like it was subtly exposed to us, right? Like we kind of knew, like we kind of got to have something about us. And then we've kind of created like these relaxed times where people are able to worry about things that don't matter. Like people are really able to nitpick every single thing that everybody is doing because there's not something chaotic going on in the background. Right. Like,
we live in such a privileged society.
Yeah. So like issues that really don't matter, we have the time to create issues out of them. Like things that are like, why would you even worry about that? It's like, well, you have nothing better to do because there's nothing like going on. And it's not to say there's not things going on in the world. I'm not blind to that. I'm just saying like here in the United States.
Like relatively to us.
Yeah. To
right
us,
now.
like there's not some war waging in our country. Like there's the politics and everything, but like, it's like with the Marine Corps, like we always talk about like wartime Marine Corps is fun Marine Corps, right? Like we're doing what we're trained to do. We're doing what we were trained to do, what we wanted to do, why we signed up. Peacetime Marine Corps is when it gets stupid. That's whenever people, they start doing uniform inspections, barracks inspections, they get on everything, right? Like they're up to date with tattoo policies. They come and they measure the whiskers on your mustache. Like that's when things get stupid because you have enough time to nitpick everything that you're supposed to be, that there is in the code, right? But whenever it's wartime, like nobody's worried about that little stuff because like we got to,
big things.
We're worried about the big things.
But I also think, especially speaking of Marine stuff, like that's where you build the discipline for war.
Yeah, no, it's all in that. Like that's the foundation for
they're
it.
they're very, it's the psychology.
Yeah.
Right? Like I saw someone talk about the name tape.
Yeah.
Like why is the name tape reg the way it is?
Yeah.
Because someone made it up.
Mm-hmm.
That's all why. Like, but why is it so strict? Because it's, if you can take attention to detail and where your name tape is placed, you're going to pay attention to the big things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the psychology side. I love that. Like, I love the mind. The mind is a crazy thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I love talking with people who also embody that because we can talk about aliens, we can talk about life, we can talk about.
It's all unified. It's all under the same picture. It's not a separate thing. Right? Like that's how I think about my life too. Is like, it's not about like which me I want to be. Like, am I going to be law enforcement me or military? Like whatever. It's just like all unification of one thing.
All of me.
It's all of me all at once. I don't have to separate myself. Like I don't have to define myself by something. So I don't have to define myself as a veteran. Like I don't want to be stuck and placed in the box. It's like, oh, he's just a veteran. So I don't speak on it too often unless people ask me questions about it. Because like I know that the everyday people that whenever I say, oh, I'm a veteran, it's immediate like Jocko box. People are like, oh, Jocko.
It's
oh,
like,
David Goggins.
easy.
Like I get put straight into that box. So it's like, I keep those things kind of hidden and like there's a lot of that throughout my life. Like a lot of things that I've done that's like, you just kind of find a way to unify those and not be put in a square.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like, veteran. Whoa.
Yeah,
especially kids are like, what have you done X? And you're like,
first question.
I'm not even going to talk. Like, you're 12. I'm not telling you about any of that. Like, or as like, oh, you're a cop.
Yeah.
You ever, and I'm like.
No, the very first question whenever I was doing whenever I was mentoring and like being a mental health specialist, the very first question whenever I was like, oh, I'm a veteran, I'm a cop. Have you ever?
Yeah. I'll say, have you ever shot anyone?
Yeah. Have you ever killed anybody? And it's like,
bro.
Very first question everybody ever thinks.
Let's say I did. Yeah. Why would you ask me that?
Yeah. Like, what's the point that we're going to gain from that answer right now?
Kids, man. You gotta love
Oh, it's adults too.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you.
Wasn't me.
They're just old enough to like be like, I probably shouldn't say that.
What are some? All right, let's lighten it up a little bit. What are some of like 3 like? I don't want to say pet peeves because it's all good intention, but you know what I'm talking about. Like you walk into a gas station to get coffee.
Yeah,
he did it. Like I'm always like, what? Like, wasn't me. I'm like, oh, I'm just okay.
Like the biggest things that annoy me. Or like pet peeves. Man, I will tell you, I go into a lot of gas stations. So everywhere I've lived, I've always had a gas station where like I know who works there. Like I walk in and they're like, hey, you know, what's up? One of my biggest pet peeves is people that waste time in gas stations. like, or just in general, like if we're going to talk specifically about a gas station, like I hate when somebody gets to a cash register and doesn't have their shit together.
Oh, dude.
And it's like fumbling around, or like they don't know if they got the money for it. And I'm like, how did you not come to this point? Like, how did you not get there before you walked up to get these things?
And there's always a line, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you were in line.
You were in line and you waited for 5 minutes, just like I did. And like you had time to think about this, but you waited till the last possible moment to like, even if it's like they're digging around in their purse for change, it's like you didn't think about that the whole time.
Or my favorite, oh, hold on, I forgot something.
Yeah, and then they set it down and run back.
I'll literally move it to the side and like,
yeah. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves. I think that translates to like the rest of life, but like, it's like whenever I come to people or I interact with people who like, this was a very obvious, like if I came to you this morning and was like, I just don't feel like talking this morning. It's like, well, wait a minute.
What are we doing?
Yeah, like why are you here in the first place? You know, like you came so unprepared to this thing. Like that's one of my that's like one of my biggest pet peeves is like my life is pretty chaotic.
You hit me with that this morning.
Yeah. It was like, what do you mean?
Showed up 30 minutes. Usually I'm the first.
I was in the parking lot at 8:30.
I know.
I woke up, got my kids ready. I woke up at 5, got my kids ready. Made them breakfast. Like that is my favorite time in the whole day. Everything else could go on in life, but like my favorite time is like waking my kids up. I have a son and a daughter, 7-year-old, and my son is 7, my daughter's 3. And I love waking them up. I love cooking them breakfast. I love brushing my daughter's hair. Love picking out their clothes with them.
Well, she lets you.
Yeah.
As they get older, you automatically aren't equipped to do it anymore.
Right. And I love watching cartoons with them in the morning. It's my favorite thing about my whole day. And so I do all that, and then it's like I don't got nothing else to do today, man. Like, so I'm just gonna drive up here. Gave my therapist a call, talked to her about everything. It was just like, hey, chit chatting.
Did she give you some pointers for the show?
No, not really. It was more personal stuff. Like I was talking about graduating or like finishing up my degree, and I was just like, man, I just feel so unsatisfied with it. Like, what is that feeling? Like what? Like I have that with so many other things in my life, but it was like, my therapist's name is Gina, and I was just like, Gina, I was like, man, like I'm like it hurts that I've got here, and it's like not even happy about it. Like I've done that with so many things in my life where I've achieved a goal that I told myself that was gonna make me feel satisfied. I've done something like extraordinary in my life. There have been so many things that like I talk about with people or I've done that I kind of keep quiet about, and it's like that could have been my life goal, but then I meet it and I'm like, wow, okay, so what's the bigger thing now? And like I told her, like there's always that moment where like the conclusion of the conversation was I set extremely high expectations for myself, sometimes unreachable, unmanageable expectations. But whenever I do meet my expectations, I also expect there to be like a big hurrah, like a big like fulfillment, big celebration, big party about it. And then I get there and it's like, man, I get super, super heavy burden with like sadness. It's like, man, I thought this was, I thought this was going to make me happy, and it doesn't. So what's going on? Like what's the gear that's not turning up here that doesn't allow me to experience that? Because in my perception, like I see people that do experience that, and it's like, well, what can I do? Like, I've always told myself that, right? Like, whenever I joined the Marine Corps, it started from young childhood, but like, I made All-American. It's like, I thought that was going to be it. No, I didn't feel, that was one of the reasons I felt so comfortable with like giving up football and not pursuing my scholarship was like, I made All-American in high school at 16 years old. And I thought that was going to be like, it was going to remind me of why I would love football and I was going to continue this journey and I could achieve great things. Was it's like going to push me further. And I got there and I was like, man, this doesn't even feel good. So what's bigger than football? Well, Marine Corps is pretty big. So let's explore the Marine Corps. And then in the Marine Corps, I did some amazing things. Like towards the first 2.5 years, I was an infantry platoon, I was deployed. And then my last 2.5 years, I'd achieved like some great, great, astonishing things. And I like myself and the amazing men that I was with during that time, like created our own spot in history. Like I carried George Bush Sr.'s casket. I carried John McCain's casket. Eliza Cummings, who was a senator of Maryland. For the Marine Corps, I don't know if you know Gunny Erming from Full Metal Jacket.
Heard stories.
Yeah, I carried his remains, so like I got to do all these things, and through doing those amazing things, you meet these amazing people. Like I had met Trump multiple times. I had met Obama. I got to spend, the platoon I was with was well known, and like we would always have people come and visit us. So like I met the great Mark Henry. I met all these figures and these idols and all these people that people dream about meeting. And then whenever I was done in that position, there was no satisfaction in me. It was just like, what's bigger? What can I do that's bigger? And as I exited the Marine Corps, it was strength. Like strength was part of the job for carrying caskets. You had to be strong. So whenever I exited, it was like, okay, let's pursue the strength thing, see how far it takes us. And I powerlifted. And I ended up being like one of the strongest 23-year-olds in the entire world. Not saying I was the strongest, but I was up there. I think I was in like top 5. It's like squatting like 900 in the gym and deadlifting 900, benching 5, like doing these crazy feats of strength. And every time I do it, like you would go into the gym or like that session or that competition, and you'd be like, man, this is gonna, once I do this, I'm gonna feel on top of the world. I'm gonna feel great about it. And then you do it and you're like, man, that's it. Like,
could you share like why that may be? Because there may be some people listening who are going through that where they're like, man, like every time I reach a finish line, I feel like I'm just getting started again.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that is like tough, That's
why
I called. That's why I called my.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's why I called Gina this morning about it, because it was just like, I understand it to a point that like a lot of those feelings come about from like childhood experiences. Like a lot of our things like that, or like characteristics like that, are developed very, very early, right? Like this is part of the subconscious work. Things that we don't understand about us, that we have no clue why we do it. Because it might not be something we even remember that affected us so deeply that our body doesn't have any memory towards it. Our body stores all the memory for us. So it's like, I'm still trying to figure it out.
You moved around a lot, right? When you're
I jumped around a lot. I went from all up and down the East Coast.
I moved around, not like location-wise, but I never stayed in a house or an apartment more than 2 years growing up.
Yeah, that's about it. 2 or 3 years tops.
So I was always moving all over the city, and I share similar experiences with you. When I get something, I'm like, I don't want to get too excited. Like, I do it intentionally, I think. Where I was like, I don't want to get too excited. And I was speaking with someone, and they told me, they were like, did you move around a lot when you were a kid? Yeah. I was like, yeah. And that's why I love talking to like people, because you never know who you're talking to. Yeah. And then you get therapied into a conversation. I call it getting therapied, which I love it, because like you said, we don't want to like ask for help. Yeah. And then God sends these angels into your lives where they're like, well, this isn't help. This is just someone having you love conversation. Yeah. I'm gonna give you a conversation.
There's always
So they're sitting there and they're like, do you think it's gonna go away? Like your success or whatever you achieve, like do you feel like, oh, you have it now, but it's not forever. It's gonna go away because you've moved around a lot. You've never got to experience like a homestead, a grounding. And I'm like, I don't know, but when you say that makes sense. Like, because when I achieve something, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put that here and then move on to the next thing. Yeah. Because I've never been able to appreciate where I was at, because there was always something else coming.
Yeah, and you were so aware of it. Like I struggle with that a lot, right? Like that's why most of like my careers that I enter into, or like these things I enjoy a lot, they have a short lifespan. Like right now, I've been in Ohio for coming up on 3 years, and I know that I'm starting to get the itch. It's like, I got to go somewhere else. And like, I don't know what, I understand what causes it, but it's like a nomadic, like I don't want to be in one place too long, because that doesn't feel natural for me anymore. Like it never was natural. And at first it was forced, right? Like I didn't have a choice in it. And then it became kind of like, oh, I joined the Marine Corps. And then it became natural for every 2 to 3 years for you to start over again and to find something new. So like I've found that naturally like 3 years is about like where my body internally like puts all the effort into something for 3 years. And it doesn't give up, like I still pursue strength training a lot. Like a majority of my training is strength training. It's just like the goals have changed. It's that this is for that. Like all that strength training was for this. It wasn't like, that's how I think I restructure it whenever I do get those feelings of sadness, or like whenever I accomplish a goal and I'm like, man, it just didn't hit, was like the restructuring is like, okay, I just don't understand why yet. Like I don't know why I did all that. Like if I didn't get this big fulfillment out of it, or I didn't get like this satisfaction from it that allows me to stop the pursuit, right? I'm like, okay, well it translates to something. I just haven't got to a point yet where I understand what it's going to translate into. Like now I can understand like a lot of, like when I was carrying caskets, you weren't allowed to show any emotion at all. Like part of the training for that, before you even go out into Arlington, carry a casket, it was 9 months of training. And in that training, I tore both my biceps, both my pectorals, in like 2 different spots on each side, my hamstring and my patella tendon. And I have like bad nerve damage in my neck from all that stuff. But like you go through that and you experience that pain and you can't speak up about it, because if you speak up, you get dropped from the training. And if you get dropped from the training, you have to live with the regret that you didn't make it your whole life, right? So the thing is you just shut up about it. You push through it, and you're not allowed to show any emotion or have any facial expressions. The goal is to be as stoic as you possibly can. Because on the family's worst day, you don't want them to look at the people carrying the casket and see them struggling in any way or see them in any pain. You just want them to look at you as like you were a statue, and that the person you're carrying belonged to this group of men that are carrying your loved one, right? So for a long time, that was a big burden for me. Like when I got out, people would always say like, you're really hard to approach, or like, you don't look happy. How come you're not smiling? And it was like, well, that was like drilled into me so hard. And I lost the ability to express my emotions and to also show my emotions to other people. Like it was very hard, even with like my son, with my wife at the time. It was like hard to like show any of that. Like the switch was broke. It was just always on. So like now, you know, and like I've gained that ability. I've gone to therapy. I put the work in. But now, like even whenever I spar, like with Bronco and stuff, one of the first times we sparred.
Shout out Bronco.
Oh, yeah,
Shout out Bronco, man.
Every day, man. I'd be lost without the guy. But man, the first couple sparring sessions, like he was laying in on these body shots, like kept hitting me hard with them. And at the end, he was like, "Did you feel those? Like, are you feeling those?"
I'm like, yeah, they hurt a lot.
I was like, "Yeah, man. Like they're good shots. They're hurting." And he's like, "Well, you're not like making any, like you're not responding to any of that
We're
pain."
just forcing him like, all right, a little harder.
Yeah. So he's thinking and he told me that he's like, "I'm gonna throw them until you wince. Like until I see pain come out of you, I'm gonna throw them as hard as I can." And I was like, dude, like in that moment, like years, right? We're talking like 5 years after I had gone through all of that. I was like, man, I didn't know that like that was for this in a way. And it's only like that because I apply it in that way,
Yeah.
you know, like I take it in that manner. But like there's so many things that I could do in my life that it's like simple things that's like that. It's like maybe all that hardship and not being able to express emotions and express the pain I'm feeling, or even to like talk to people about it, was just for this moment right here, to let me know that I'm a hard read whenever I fight somebody. It's going to be really hard to read me, that they're not going to know what hurts, you know? And like talking with him about it, like it's just small things like that are like, they make such a big positive. And like for people that are hearing this, or like, they might not think that's a big deal, but like whenever you've had to carry that burden and that pain for a long time, like finding any type of little good in that makes it all worth the while. Like finding like one way that you could use that as an advantage whenever it used to be a disadvantage is like, man, that makes it worth it. That's
now do
great.
that with every hard thing in your life.
Exactly. Yep. You take every single thing and you can apply it in any little way that you could think of. And like, you can gain that perspective that's like, it wasn't for nothing. It wasn't purposeless. It wasn't meaningless. It served something, even if the purpose isn't as big as what I thought it was gonna be, or even if I thought it was gonna. I didn't think not showing emotions was ever going to have a purpose, right? Like that was for that job and that job only. There was no part of that was like, that'll be good someday. The second he said that, I was like, yeah, I know where that comes from. I know exactly what you're talking about. I trained that for years. You know?
And that's the art of life, man. Just being able to apply things, especially like there's no losses when there's lessons.
Yeah. No.
You know, if you can take something, big, small, or if you can take something from everything and apply it, it becomes big. It becomes big. It becomes you. It becomes who you are. Mm-hmm. Like we are all extensions of who we used to be and our experiences. Is that good or is that bad? Only you get to decide that.
Yeah, and it's just on you, right? Like it solely depends on your mindset on it. That's it. It depends on how you perceive life. And everybody's perception is different.
Yeah. Speaking of fighting, what's that looking like for you?
Oh man, I love it. I just love the training. I love any type of training, man. And like having a goal. I'm very goal oriented.
Yeah. But when I get them, it's like, whatever. No.
Yeah. I love having the goal because it gives me something to obsess about. Like with this fight coming up, like I'm not like, I understand like how I come off and like how I speak.
Can you announce the fight? Like when is like,
yeah, it's November 22nd at Mountaineer Casino in West Virginia. Yeah, it'll be my first amateur fight. So like I understand it's not a big deal, but like it's.
What do you mean it's not a big deal?
Well,
it's
like I understand in the scheme of things, right? Because my goal is so much bigger than one amateur fight.
So this is your first amateur fight.
Yep.
How long have you been preparing for it?
Oh man.
Not your whole life. I get it.
Yeah, no.
My whole
like
life.
Specific fight training.
Yeah.
Over a year.
And you have Bronco.
Yeah. So
you?
That's
a problem.
Yeah. So he's the reason that not the reason, but like part of the big reason like this all came into fruition. Like that's why I say like I wouldn't be here in this moment without the guy. It all started just with jiu-jitsu. Like I've always had love. The Marine Corps teaches you martial arts. Like they have their McMath program, all that. But like I've always like stayed in like jiu-jitsu or like some kind of Krav, like just something like here and there, like maybe once a month or every other month. I would just like go to a class, learn something just to say, oh, I did it. And I did that for years. I did that since I was like 17, 18. It was just like, oh, I do some kind of martial arts just to like keep my foot in the door. And then I like really dialed in jiu-jitsu. I was like, this is going to be it. I'm going to really pursue jiu-jitsu. And I did good. I started competing. I started going to tournaments and stuff. I was winning all my tournaments. And then Bronco came into the gym one day and was like, he came in for open mat and nobody kind of really wanted to give him a round. I didn't really know about him.
Yeah, he's
and I was just like,
dude, like why?
And I was just like, oh, like big tattooed guy, like seems like my type. Yeah, I'll get a roll on with you. And he was like, all right.
Did he choke you?
Immediately, straight to like something. And I was like, what the fuck just happened to me? And he gets up and it was like maybe 30 seconds. He's like, oh, you're strong. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, you just got me at 30 seconds. Like, what do you mean? And he was like, all right, well, let's finish out the round. So it was like a 5-minute round and we kept going. I probably got submitted like 5-6 times in that 5-minute round. And then he was like, hey, I'm prepping for a fight. He's like, you're really strong. You'd just be like a really good body to have around for sparring. Would you be interested in that? And I was like, of course, man. Like any work that you'd like to get in, just let me know and I'll show up for it. And we exchanged numbers. And then for like probably a month, we kind of like talked back and forth and like had a couple training sessions that we had planned on getting in with each other, but it was just like scheduling error, And then he was like, well, just come up to Stout with me on Saturday. They do team sparring. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like I've only ever been in like real fights. Like I've never like went and like just sparred with, like that was unusual to me. Like that seemed like really crazy. Like this mass group of people was getting together just to fight each other without any like intentions of ill will or like anger towards another person. It's like, yeah, I don't
teaches you that discipline, man.
Yeah. So it was just like, yeah, I'll come up. And then it was like, I showed up an hour and a half early. Like, cause I always do that. I'll like always go, I'll like scout it out or just observe to kind of see what I'm dipping my toes into. Like it's my like warm up, but like walk. So I got there like an hour and a half early. And I'm like kind of just like aimlessly walking around the gym, like looking around, kind of seeing the people that come in, I'm like, that's probably get around in with that guy, you know? And like nobody shows up. And like it's noon and like Bronco's not there. And like that was like my guide, right? Like that's my in to Stout. Like nobody knows about me. And I'm just like, now this random guy coming up that's like, hey, I'm here for team sparring. I'm not even part of the team. You guys don't even know about me. But my in was Bronco. And he calls me. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to make it, Jay. And I was like, fuck, you know, what do I do? And then I was very fortunate that there was two instructors at Stout that day that brought me in.
Do you remember who it was?
It was Jonas, who's a great guy. Love Jonas. I see him all the time. And man, I feel bad because I know exactly what he looks like. I think his name was Connor. But they brought me in and they gave me like a little class. And they're like, yeah, man, you're going to need a lot of work before you get to the team sparring. Yeah, well, they're like, well, you could get in there, but you're going to take some hits. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So the team ended up coming in and I ended up just sitting to the side. It was just like, okay, I'm just going to watch this. Because like my biggest thing was I don't want to go into this team event and give people bad rounds and then they don't get good work in because the whole time they're trying to like coach me into what to do or like teach me like how to spar. So I'm not just like fucking throwing heavy overhands at somebody trying to knock them out. For that. Right? So like I'm like, I don't want to do that to somebody and I'm aware that that's what I would do because this is a new situation to me. I don't know how to act during this. I would like to observe, see how I'm supposed to act, and then I'd come in and then act the way that I see other people acting. So I kind of just sat around and like talked here and there with people, just introduced myself and then left quietly. And from there, it was just Bronco was getting ready for a fight. And anytime he needed somebody, give me a call. I'll be there as soon as I can. Like we live 2 streets down, like a couple streets down from each other.
Small world, man.
So it was just like, hey, you going on a run? All right, I'm coming too. They're like, hey, Bronco, I'm going to go do some strength training. All right, I'll be there. I'm going to strength train with you. Hey, you want to get in some sparring? All right, cool. Let's go to sparring. They're like, hey, you want to we're carpool up to Pittsburgh together. Go get some training up at Stout. Great, we're going to do that. All right, we're going to go to, like, everything we did was just like I got to experience a full training camp without having the intention to fight. And throughout that training camp, a confidence was built, like, through my ability to do the things that Bronco was doing. He was like, hey, you're keeping up and you're doing these things too. It was just like, well, maybe I can do this. Like everybody thinks that, or everybody would like to like fight. Like who watches the UFC and isn't like, oh, I could go do that. You know, like every man I think has that thought that's like, oh, I could probably get up there and fight somebody, right?
It's usually checked as soon as you get into the gym.
Yeah, exactly, right? But then I was having these moments where it was just like, wait a minute, like I am giving good people good rounds. And I am doing good, and I'm exceeding. And then I just was cornering him, and then Nelson Best is another fighter that's in the Steubenville area. Just started training in with them anytime I could. Like I was doing like 4 days. I was training like 5-6 hours a day because I'd go do my training, and then they'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna do our training." I was like, "Yep, count me in." So just like this mass, reception of knowledge and like skills were coming in all at once, where it was like kind of like overload. It was like, man, like I'm learning so many things. I don't even know how to apply them. I just need to keep getting the repetitions in. And then it just, like, I don't think anything is purposeless. Like things happen, right?
Yeah.
And like, it just so happened that like I ran into Angela who runs Made Men. And it was after Nelson's fight. I cornered Nelson for it. And he's just like, man, we got a card coming up in November. You're looking good, man. You've been training. I was like, hey, if you got a spot, like, yeah, fill me in, but don't like make it a point that this guy has to fight in November. Like my mindset was like, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. Like I'll put my name out there, but I'm not going to say, hey, I need to be on the next card. It was just like, if the opportunity presents itself, then it was meant to happen for a reason, so that ended up happening. And then I got connected with the right people, and then got Nicole, the manager, come in, and she started looking for me for matches. And it was kind of just like all unforced on my part. Like I wasn't doing a lot to push this. It was just kind of happening in my own world. Like my interaction with Bronco and meeting him for the first time wasn't like I was going out into the world and like trying to find these fighters to be friends with, or like trying to find these gyms to train. Like I signed up for the closest jiu-jitsu gym to me that had a good reputation. And I walked in there with like an open mind to what I would experience. And I just walked in every day with that. It was just like, I'm a beginner in this. There are people that know more than me. I can only obtain knowledge from here. And like that mindset you go into basic with, it's like, I am nothing because I am nothing kind of deal. It's like, I'm just here to learn. Like it's so exciting for me because I love learning. So it's like so exciting that it's like, there's not a single person in here that can't teach me anything. Like from your lowest of white belts, like they've been doing this. I can learn from them. I can learn from anybody. Everybody's a teacher here. And that was exciting for me. That was so exciting that I could walk into a gym and just at any point, just learn something new. And it just, the rabbit hole, like there's the saying, it's like l'appel du void, which is the call of the void, that I like reference a lot in my poetry, which is just like that. The way that it's described is like that feeling you get whenever you're standing on the edge of the cliff. That's like, maybe I should just jump, right? So it's like the call of the void. It tells you to do these things. So like for me, like I treated this as like the call of the void, that like, I don't know what pushed me into doing this. I can't like pinpoint it. Like I can say like, I've always wanted to be a fighter, right? Like it was my childhood dream to be a WWE wrestler, right? So like different area of fighting, but like, I can say I've always had that interest, but I can't tell you where along my journey a distinctive thought came up where I said, I'm going to go out and pursue this fighting and pursue jiu-jitsu and martial arts in any way that I can. It just happened. And it was just like all consuming. It was like standing on the edge of the cliff and you listen to the voice that tells you to jump and you don't know why it's telling you to jump because it doesn't make logical sense. And then you just jump into it, and then it just keeps getting deeper and deeper, and the rabbit hole goes further and further, and the void calls you more and more, and then like next thing you know,
November 22nd,
you got a date November 22nd, and
that's exciting.
And like I'm happy with it, you know. Like this fight could go either way, and I have a lot of respect for anybody that steps inside that ring, whether I dislike them as a person or not. I know that I've been in high visibility moments before where you kind of have to show yourself like that. And I don't know how it feels to do this. Like, I don't want to sit here and say that I know what that feels like to step into a cage. But I know that the courage that it takes to even to start that process is a lot. So like my opponent, I have nothing but absolute respect for him and everybody that's on that card that night. Like I treat every fighter like that. Every single person I meet up at Stout Team, that I've met at like Mat Factory, that I meet cornering all these fights, like even if they're, Bronco's opponent, it's not like, oh man, I can't stand this guy. It's like, no, like I have a lot of respect for him. Like,
where you're learning what it takes to even the process to get there.
Yeah. And it's like for him to have the courage to step into that ring just as a human being, like, man, that's respectable, right? Like in anybody's eyes, that should be respectable. So like, yeah, this fight's November 22nd. I'm excited for it. I don't know how it's going to go. We're going to see. I've been training hard for it, but that's it. Like, there's
just the first step of a very long process.
And that's what it feels like, man. Yeah.
What is your goal for fighting? I know you haven't got this is your first fight.
Yeah.
Like, where do you see yourself going with MMA and then with your personal life with just getting your degree? Like, what are your goals? What can people expect?
Yeah, so that's like that's the spot I'm in, right? Is like I'm still trying to figure it out. It's I'm having to embrace the mindset that I preach often, which is the unknown, which is I don't know where it's going to lead right now. Like, you have these goals, like I want to be the best I can be at fighting, whatever capacity that is. So if I can make it somewhere big one day, then all for it. Like, that's the goal, right? Like, I think that if you step into this competitively, like the goal should always be the biggest goal possible. So yeah, it sounds crazy to say out loud, but what you say is like, if you have the courage to speak it, then it has the chance to become true. But my goal, is just to be the best in the world that's doing it in my time, while I'm capable of doing it, is to climb the ranks and gain the skills and the knowledge enough to be able to be considered like one of the best that is doing it for my generation. And like that was the same with powerlifting, was like I did it because I wanted to be the best squat, bench, and deadlifter that I could possibly genetically be, that I could meet my full potential. So that's it. The same thing with fighting. It's just like, I don't have like a goal. Like I can't say that like, oh, my goal is to be the UFC light heavyweight champion of the world. My goal is like, I want to be able to push myself to understand exactly what I'm capable of, mentally and physically. I want to be able to reach the absolute limit that I get to, and I'm like, that is what my body's capable of. Like when I got to powerlifting, the numbers I was hitting, there are people that are way stronger than me. But I understood at a point that I was like, this is my genetic capabilities, that it's going to take a lot more than what I'm capable of to make me stronger than what I am now. I'm going to have to go down some way further paths to obtain some other strength. So like, that's why like whenever I did fracture my spine, like I always had like a resentment towards like, oh man, I can't lift as heavy. But it was like, you have to meet closure one time or you drowned in those negative thoughts. So it was like, well, we made it as far as we could have gone with what we had at that time. And like same thing with this martial arts is like, I want to take this as far as I could possibly take it with what I have in me and what my environment provides me with, and max out the potential there. And wherever that may land for me, wherever I may fall in that, then I know that I at least gave it my all. I put everything I had into it, and that like I can live without the regret of not knowing what if I would have just pushed a little bit harder.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. November 22nd, I have an event in Grantville, but I'm gonna be watching the fight.
I'll keep you posted. I'll shoot you some messages or stuff.
We're tied down, bro. We're brothers now. One way I like to end, we've talked about a lot of stuff. You've hit a lot of big points and a lot of good things to say. As people are listening to this and the episode ends, you know, they're going back to their daily lives. They turned off their Spotify or Apple or YouTube. What's one message you want people to take? If you can just give them one message you want people to take that they can apply to their lives after this episode is over.
Oh, man. Empathy, man. Like we're all people. We're not so different from each other. Stop being so harsh. You know, like truly I believe that like there's a great saying, and I don't know who said it first or where it came from, but it's like everybody's just another version of ourselves. Like if you can relate with anybody and understand most people, because if you just understand that like I would be exactly who you are right now if I were raised in the way that you were raised and grew up in the manner that you grew up. Like I would be you. And the same could be said about me to you. Like we're all the same and we're all different in our own ways, but just be able to relate and connect and show empathy towards one another. To understand that we all have some kind of crazy story, that there's something about all of us more than just like a surface level of like and dislike of each other.
Yeah, we're all different, and then that makes us all the same.
Exactly.
Ooh, I like that. Well, that's a good way to end. Where can people follow you online if they want to follow what you're doing with the mental health stuff, your fights? Where can people follow you? Yeah, I don't have a whole bunch. Thanks to, law enforcement, I don't put my name out there too much. This is the change, right? Like this is the first time that people are I've actually had people reach out and be like, hey, how do you get credit for your fights? Because I don't actually know your name. On Instagram, it's just Becky the Butcher, like a name that was given to me. And I could change this to the one with Becky.
No, I like it. You know, I mainly did it because of law enforcement. I didn't want
my chapter's closed.
Yeah, the chapter's closed, so I could start coming out to I could start saying my real name now. Before it was like you understand it. Yeah, you don't want people to be able to look you up and hunt you down. I put myself
out there, and I hope that I walk a certain walk that people can understand where I come from, and that I'm just out here trying to do good things.
Yeah. So you could find me on Instagram. That's about the only thing I do. Becky _ the _butcher. That's it.
I like that.
Yeah, man.
I like that. Well, brother, I appreciate you for coming out. Best of luck to you.
I really appreciate
November
it,
22nd.
man.
I'm going to be following your journey now. So
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. This was great.
Anytime, man.
I loved it.
I'm going to connect you with the folks over at QRF.
That's awesome.
Because I don't know if they have any workings in West Virginia right now, but what better way to start with someone who embodies exactly what they're trying to do. So again, I appreciate you for coming out. Go follow the Relentless Project online. We're on Instagram, X, YouTube at Relentless PRJCT. This is the one with Jesse Beckwith. And we're out, brother.
Awesome.
Later.
Yep.